Hello, this is the Code series on how to learn for obscurity. So starting with Rein goats, we're gonna start with the Rein, how to plan. So we're just gonna do this with basically a mindset of attacking point A on King's Row. So let's start. Usually you have the rest of your team behind you, and one of the reasons why goats is very strong is that you can hold the space. For example, this choke, you can hold it, shield it, and you have solid control over it. Unlike other main tanks like Winston, where Bubble is very weak, or Orisa, where the shield is only 900, or Ball that can't shield at all. Rein has a big massive shield, 2000 HP, so one of the reasons why goats can survive for a long time and can take extended fights is because he has a 2000 HP shield. So when moving with goats, you want to be shielding so you can go from point to point. Usually this is a pretty bad place for goats since it's pretty short range. So teams usually decide to go right side to start swinging with the bubble, or they would like to go hotel to kind of go for a flank. It kind of depends. So this is usually a time when you see comps, and depending on the comp, you play differently as Rein. If it's goats v goats, you want to be setting up a default, which is all your players stacking on you, unless it's like a diva trying to like pesker off a Sombra. If the team like Sombra goats, the diva usually spy checks more often and DMs the Sombra shots to prevent the charge of the EMP. But other than that, if it's a full goats v goats, you usually want to be stacking together. So that's the first part of the default. And the second part of the default is the bubbles. So usually you would be holding up solidifying space, and then you usually call for bubble, and then you swing for once or twice, and then usually depending on which shield breaks first or if anybody fucks up, that's when things usually happen. But a default and how if everybody's perfect, it's usually people just shielding, swinging with bubble, trying to break shield, because once you break shield, you're pretty much useless. You're worse than a Hammond because you can't roll out. You're worse than a Winston because he has bubble. You're worse than an Orisa. You're just a sitting duck. So breaking shield is really important, and the Rein v Rein goats. That's a default, but this isn't OWL. Even in OWL, nobody's perfect. There's usually a fuck up, and people usually take advantage of those fuck ups. For example, your team should be behind you, but what if a brig is like front of point or in front of you? Usually the other team will speed into the brig and kill them. A big part of goats is making sure everyone is in position to speed and kill something. If they're using the same analogy, if I'm right here and the brig is in front of point, but their goats team is pretty bad, where the Ryan's over here, like the Zarya's over here, and the Brig's over here. They're not really in a position to follow up on this Brig being mispositioned, and the Brig gets around and can easily go back and is not dead. So that is usually a team thing you should be worrying about. Other than that, fuck ups. If you see a fuck up, if like the Lucio is trying to make like an SK play over here, like wall riding over there and over here, you can kill him, speed into him, calling discords. You, as Ryan, you just want to be shielding, but if you have the opportunity to swing, this is usually when you're sure you can kill something with a couple of swings before they kill you. Like if you swing for too long, you don't have their shield, you're as useless, people can kill you very easily. So only be swinging when you're sure, because shield has really big value. You want to be also ending fights as soon as possible, because your shield is only 2000 HP and it goes by pretty quickly. Especially if Diva and Zarya and Zen is spamming your shield. So you want to be ending it quickly. So you want to be defaulting, breaking shield as soon as possible. If you find a fuck up, trying to like kill that fuck up as soon as possible. So that's how your fight usually lasts as a Rein. What if if so, this is like first fight. You want that's how a first fight would be. This is just King Zero, for example, but it's different for other maps. But this is like very universal. Um, what isn't universal is like not a goats v goats matchup. For example, if they have full on bunker, they have. Let me go up to high ground. No, I can't even go from there. So they're over here on top of Mega. They're bunker with Bastion, Orisa, Diva, Sim, Mercy, Bastion. You can't there's two ways to approach this as a Rein. Um, you can't really hold shield for that long because it breaks fairly easily with the Bastion and the Mercy and all the other damage. So you can't really hold shield and hold space for a long time. So your HP doesn't really matter because their massive damage kind of mitigates that pro. So you want to be fairly aggressive, especially with your speed boost. Goats in general promotes very aggressive behavior. So taking fights as soon as possible, speeding up the default, speeding up the fuck ups, trying to get fuck ups and kill them as soon as possible is very rewarding because you get ults as soon as possible. You don't waste time, so you have more fights, and more fights means more ults. And Goat's ults is really powerful with things like Grab Bomb, Shatter. You have 3 support ults, which are huge because they make your unlimited HP pool even bigger. So you want to be taking the fight quick. You want to be getting the fuck ups. So if I was bunkering the situation, I would be shielding over here. I would even be asking for a speed boost and then a Diva DM. So we go all the way down here, and now we're in here. And then we wait for DM, we wait for speed boost, and then we go. If they go somewhere else, if they have like a sim, for example, like they would probably be going over there, just continue on coming here, speeding, and then you just out rotate them basically. Sooner or later, they can't rotate. Even if they have the sim, the TP is a long cooldown, so you just go around. If they keep over here, they'll be here, and then usually you'll be either swinging with bubble, or you'll be trying to bash the Bastion or the Baptiste to prevent lamp. So using that example, that's how you usually deal with bunker. Alright, what are other comps? If it's a standard 2-2-2 comp, or like if it's a standard 2-2 comp, it's like, what is this comp? You usually just speed onto point, kill whatever's on point, and then you stay on point, and then whoever tries to contest, you kill. So if it's like Ryan, Zarya, Hanzo, Junkrat, you literally just speed in, you DM all the spam, you try to kill the Ryan. If the Ryan backs up, you just hold point. And then, yeah. You have the sustain to kind of be reckless with it, especially with abilities like DM and Brig Cookie and Bubble and stuff like that. So yeah. So that's how I usually deal with 2-2-2. If it's dive, you literally just hold point and you stay together. You just default together. Make sure you're defaulting. Defaulting is one of the most important things. Usually you want to be defaulting, staying together, killing shit together, because like I said, you want to make sure everyone is in a position to follow the calls of the Rein, because you have the shortest range, you only have the hammer, so if you're calling targets, everybody else should be killing it. So yeah, with ults, you obviously, there's the Rein v Rein matchup where you try to shatter each other. There's also if you grab, you want to be bashing the Rein to prevent shield. You want to be, the Rein should be, you should be bashing. You want to bash the Rein as quickly as possible. So if the Rein's right here where I'm standing, you don't want to bash this way because it's very long. You want to bash short so you get the damage and you can continue swinging. Also, you want to bash the Rein just in case they have a Diva bomb, and so the Diva bomb won't have to worry about the shield, and you get to kill shit. What else? Nothing else really with ults. So yeah, that's how I do it. Usually, if you cap the point, if things aren't successful, you you reset. You try to see which ults they have, and then you go into a default. If it's a go-to, you go to default. You go here. This is usually typical rollout. You would default, but instead of playing off fuck ups, it's usually you play off ults first, because people are positioning for ults, and even if there's a fuck up, usually ults will mitigate that fuck up. For example, if you're pushing up here and there's like a brig right next to the Ryan and their whole team is over there, like they can still grab bomb and kill the entire team. So ults is usually more important. So keep that in mind. So first fight, think about the default and the fuck ups, and then second attack, you think about default, and then you think about ults, and then it repeats until whoever wins, whoever loses. That's it, basically. If you win, you move here. You want to take as much space as possible, of course. Pushing up, usually Diva's capping because Diva has mobility. And then you speed, you try to take all the space, and then you rinse repeat. See which ults they have, blah blah blah. Swinging when they bubble, of course. So yeah, that's it. If you have any notes, DM me. Until next scrim, see you.